Ladies and gentlemen, this is Closer Conversations. My name is Austin Glazer, and today I'm joined by Andrew Texeira of U.S. Bank, where he is a mortgage banker. I couldn't be more excited to not only have a fellow dead here, but my good friend Tex. So with that being said, Tex, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. I'm excited you're here. How you feeling?
Hey, like I said, I'm a little bit under the weather, not 100%, but I'm here and I'm ready to rock.
All right, let's get into it. So I know you mentioned you watched one of our earlier episodes today, and with that being said, we always start with the same first question, end with the same last question. So with that being said, Tex, what's your definition of success?
Success, number one, being happy and healthy. Business-wise, I'd probably say helping as many people as possible. Success is measurable a lot of different ways, right? But as long as you're happy, healthy, you have your family around you, you have good people around you, you're helping people. That's one of the great things I love about my job is how much I'm able to help other people. Obviously while helping myself and my family. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
All right, cool. So, Tex, you're a mortgage banker. How'd you get into it?
By default. Funny story. I won't bore you with the long-ended story of it all.
Okay, go for it.
But I started out waiting tables in the city for a good 12 or so years, and I'd broken my arm real bad in a snowboard accident, and I started taking my real estate classes to become a realtor.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yep. So while I'm still in my sling, I'm walking down Bleecker Street on a Saturday night, a little intoxicated. I bump into an old buddy that I went to camp with, sleepaway camp in my bunk.
Nice.
And he was like, Tex, what's going on? I'm like all slinged up because I broke my arm. And I'm like, yo, all is well. I had a little accident. I'm taking my real estate class to become a broker. And yeah, that's what's going on. And he's like, yo, I'm starting my own firm. Come be my manager.
Okay.
I was like, bro, I haven't even passed my test yet. How am I gonna do this? What are you even talking about right now? Hindsight, being 2020 and all, I should have probably said, I'll see you in a year and gone through, a regular training course at, a City Habitats or something like that. But I was like, hey, we started out of his apartment, just the two of us. Within a month, we had a third, and within 6 months, we had some space across the street. And, I could manage people of how to be a good person. And I guess that's really my sales tactics is just being responsive, transparent, and listening to people. And that's easy to kind of teach and, honed. You need to hone that in a little bit more, but... anyhow, I know it's long-winded here.
No, that's okay. We got to fill up a bunch of time here, so I'm game.
So, but I never got out of the restaurants because quick money. I was very into walking out with money in my pockets.
Cash every night.
Yeah, exactly. But so I didn't have great footing. And 2008 happened, and I started getting a little depressed. I just moved in with my now wife. Okay. We had just moved in together. I kind of reverted to my couch a little bit. Yeah. I was like, oh, God, this girl's probably like, what the F did I get myself into here? And we were going to my friend's wedding in Jamaica. Okay. He was a mortgage guy. I was going to be in a villa for a few days with his boss and his manager, his big manager, and a few of his colleagues. So in my head, I was like, all right, I'm going to pivot here. Let me rub some elbows because I didn't really have good footing in being a realtor. I was getting back into restaurants more, and I did not want that. And the rest is history. We went down there. We made great friends with these folks. you had my wife being like, "Can one of you guys hook this kid up with a job?"
Okay.
So that was interesting, and it worked because I didn't realize who he was, but he was a big dog, and he took a liking to us. And that summer we were at his place in the Hamptons, and he was like, "Look, honestly, I think I can help you. I want to help you. I think you're special. I love your wife, and I want you to give your wife a great life."
Okay.
We weren't married yet, but that's where we were going, right? So he's like, "Come meet me in the city." The office was right by Bryant Park. "Meet me on Tuesday, and we'll talk." I walk in. He's on like the 36th floor, overlooking the park. He's got the corner office.
You're putting it together at this point.
I walk in. I'm like, "Oh, you're a big dog.
You're the guy.
You're a big dog
You're
here."
the guy, yeah.
He's like, "I am the dog."
Oh, that's pretty badass.
There's 100 salespeople on the floor here. There's 100 operations people in the back. I run most of Manhattan for, I won't name the bank. And he's like, I'm going to put a desk right here in the corner of my office for you. You're going to be like a fly on the wall. You're going to be a sponge for about 6 months. I'm partnering up with a new loan officer that's coming in from Lehman Brothers. Real analytical, smart, sharp guy. You're going to learn the biz. You guys are going to partner up. You're going to take over my book because I'm moving to an executive role. And the rest is kind of history. It didn't all work out that way, but it worked out pretty well. And here you go. That was 2009.
That's pretty cool. So you got in right after the biggest collapse of like all time.
So I learned only the good way to write loans.
Yep. Right.
I missed all the trash loans.
Okay. Well,
I don't
listen,
even
you made
know
up for
from
it.
it. Yeah, I don't even know from it. So yeah, we were on a team. I was on a team for a good 10 years.
Yep.
And in 2019, I left my old boss partner and I went on my own, right at a great time.
Sounds like it's worked out.
I'd say.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, you made President's Club or something along those lines last year, right?
Yeah, I made Lead Possible in 2021.
Okay.
Which was amazing considering that I really was only originating loans by myself for just about 2 years at that point.
Okay.
It was great. I'm humbled and grateful.
Absolutely. You deserve every bit of it.
I appreciate it.
So with that being said, were the last 2 years the craziest of your life?
I'd definitely say so.
Yeah,
from
a lot of chaos.
From a business standpoint, from a volume standpoint. I mean, we've kind of being on a high producing team, and I was running a pipeline for years. It's been crazy, but it wasn't only on me.
Okay.
Where the past 2 years was all on me. I do have an assistant, which thank God for her, and but a lot of it fell on me. So yeah, it was awesome and chaotic, all in the best ways possible.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, what's your opinion on the market right now?
The market right now. Let's. Can we all go to sleep for like 6 months, maybe?
Okay. You think it's going to get better in 6 months?
Look, here's what I'm saying to people buying properties right now, locking in rates right now. Look, the likelihood of contraction in the market from the Fed lowering rates in, call it, the near term between 2 to 4 years is likely. You're going to probably refinance. I wouldn't pay too much weight of the current rate that you have right now.
Okay.
In speaking with some finance guys over the past 2 weeks or so, their timelines are even slimmer than that. Some are saying Fed's gonna come in flexing Q1, realize they've gone too far, too fast, and they're gonna start peeling back as of Q2 next year.
Well, I hope so.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope so. So listen, I'm going to shift topics here. I think it's funny, and before I get into what I really want to get into, I think the funny thing about this for me, and I guess the cool thing about doing closer conversations is, Tex, I've known you for a bit now. We pretty much just talk about the Dead, or any other jam bands, but I think it's really cool that I don't know your story, and now I know it, right? So, like, getting to do this and like learning about the people I have on the podcast. I say it every single episode, but I mean it. Like it's very cool to get to learn your story and hear how you got, and knowing you now at the level that you're at, hearing where you came from, waiting tables it's such a difference, you know? And I mean, it's very cool. It's an honor to have you here in all seriousness.
It's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate it.
All right. So we're going to change topics here. So if you could have dinner with 3 people, alive or dead, who are you choosing?
I'm going to choose Jerry Garcia, number 1.
All right.
Probably Jean-Michel Basquiat.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but I'll ask in a minute.
Okay. And let me pick somebody alive right now.
They could be dead. It's okay.
No, I know, but those 2 guys are all already dead. So
okay.
Let me pick somebody who's alive.
A lot of willpower to get another dead person there.
And, maybe Robert De Niro.
Okay. That's an interesting one. First off, I want to know who the second guy is. Who is that?
Jean-Michel Basquiat is a black urban artist.
Nice.
That did a lot of street art. They actually just had something for... They had an exhibit for him in the city not too long ago.
Okay. What would be the first question you'd ask him? Him specifically. We'll get to the others in a second.
What planet are you from?
Okay, because he's that out of this world. He's that out of this world, and he was more like urban what? Like pop? Like
no, I mean he came from the streets of NYC and was hanging out with Warhol and.
So he's got some great stories to tell.
I'd say so. He was pretty much a lunatic also.
And what would you ask De Niro?
Do I amuse you?
Awesome. Well, it's funny. For those listening at home, so if you're listening into this in order and you listen to the Spindler episode last, I didn't write down a single question for Spindler, but for Tex, him and I are huge deadheads. So yeah, we just lost the thing back there. So for now on, you're just going to see us like this, nothing on the back. Hopefully, we're still recording. If not, you got the audio. So if you had Jerry Garcia for dinner, what is the first question you're asking him? This is a tough one. Me being a deadhead myself, I'm curious to know what you're going to say.
I would be honestly, and I don't really get starstruck or anything. I think I'd be fumbling over my words big time.
Okay, I'd ask him something about the finger. I think I'd ask him something about that missing finger.
Yeah, I mean, but it goes to show. Never count a man out, right?
Yep.
The guy's got one less finger, and he's probably one of the best guitarists of all time.
Yeah,
and
like
he overcompensates for lack of something.
Like
right?
shreds.
So,
yeah. So what I just realized, I said an open-ended thing and I never finished it. So I wrote down questions for this one, and I wrote down this specific question, and I said, if Tex chooses Jerry Garcia, we might create a dead tangent. And then I put in parentheses, like, I don't know why, for myself, I said open to it. So with that being said, Jerry Garcia is sitting down. Jerry Garcia asks you your favorite performance, or maybe not performance because that makes it a little hard for you, but your favorite Dead song and why. What are you choosing?
So because they were so jammy, right, and they kind of mixed songs together, Scarlet Fire would probably be my favorite combo there.
Any specific rendition of it?
No, I'm open. I'm open. Obviously, Barton Hall is a hot ticket there.
Okay.
But almost every version, slow, fast, you name it. Mm-hmm. That's if I was on an island. With
one song,
with one jam, it would be a Scarlet Fire.
Okay, I think I choose. I see, but like they don't usually play Althea with anything with it. But I would choose Althea as my favorite song. I don't know where I'd that or Franklin's Tower, but they also don't really riff Franklin's Tower into anything either usually.
Help Slip.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Oh my God! If anyone's listening to this, I'm ashamed of myself for not knowing that. I know so much better than
that. So that would be my second run right there.
Okay, I'm very disappointed in myself. So we're gonna keep it moving now. All right. So what's your
young.
advice?
It's okay. You're young.
But I should have done better. What is some advice? Shifting back, advice for someone entering the industry.
Somebody entering the industry. Number one, be authentic.
Okay.
Don't try to be somebody else. It took me a while to I was a quote unquote assistant for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me quite some time to muster it up to kind of go on my own, because this is back when we were in the office all the time, and I thought I needed to be this suit wearing, kind of sharky, kind of used car salesy kind of guy, which is, not to naysay all my buddies in the industry, but just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right? That's just not me. So staying authentic to who you are, and being comfortable in who you are and what you're doing is going to pay dividends, because your clients are they're gonna feel that, and they're gonna understand that you're not selling them something that they don't need, right? Also, I had something that I was thinking about.
It's okay. We got plenty of time.
Yeah. Know the products.
No, for sure.
No. See, I ran a pipeline for a good 10 years. I knew nothing going into this.
Mm-hmm.
I started so green. I didn't even know what a title report was. I had no idea about anything. LTVs, DTIs, it was all mumbo jumbo to me. So really knowing the business, I definitely recommend not just going and being a loan officer right off the bat, because people are going to come to you as the expert.
Yeah,
and
for
if
sure.
you don't have the answers, it's not a good look.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you don't have the answer, you say, let me look into that for you. But if you're saying that to everything, then you're not speaking to them with confidence either. So really being confident and honing in and understanding guidelines and terminologies and knowing how to get things done before you step into, a sales role, I think is probably the best advice, other than, obviously being authentic.
What's funny, to piggyback off of that, when I first got started in the industry, as you know my story, I worked under someone for 2 years. I learned he's the greatest of all time. And what he taught me was knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is power, and like understanding what you're selling is so important, because what you're selling is what your competition isn't, right? And you're selling, even me, right? Some of the clients that we've done business with together, some of them were first-time home buyers, and those are massive premiums for me, at least. And they were really expensive homes, but I wasn't afraid of the price point. What I was sticking to was the process I've taught myself time and time again: education. I'm going to teach them something they don't know today, and if they want to go with me, they're more than welcome to. But if they don't, at least I taught them something, because I know my competition won't. All the competition cares about is just feeding them a quote.
Numbers.
And that's not what it's about. It's about educating them and teaching them and showing them what is important and why it's important. I was saying to, I did dinner with someone last night, and one of the things we were talking about, and he was saying something similar, but what I was saying is that for me, when I get to the end of a quote, well, first off, when most people send out quotes, all they do is they just attach it and they say, here's your quote. Follow up in 3 days. Let me know if you want it. For me, I do a 45-minute phone call and I teach them everything about home insurance. By the end of it, the funny thing is they don't even ask me the price. They're like, okay, where do I sign up? Because I blur out the price, because I don't want them to know the price just yet. I want them to look at that and just be authentic with me and be like, okay, this is what this means. Okay, got it. Well, this guy explained it, and this seems to make sense. I'm going to go with him, as long as his price isn't in Jupiter, because that does play a part too, especially when you're working with a mortgage broker, a mortgage lender, or a mortgage banker. We want to make sure that we're not screwing up your DTI.
Right.
But my favorite thing about anything is the education piece. That's why I'm in this business. That's why I do this podcast. It's fun to learn about people and be educated myself. So very much agree with what you just said, and it's cool to hear that from a legend like you. So very cool. Let me scroll through my question book here. So, okay. So we talked about advice for someone entering the industry. What should someone not do who enters the industry?
Not do. Don't pay attention to the numbers.
Okay.
Don't be driven so much by, I got to close this deal. I gotta make this number. Because it brings in desperation, and you're going to push people into something maybe that doesn't fit them right. And you really need to understand what the client needs at the current time, what's going to benefit them the most moving forward as well, and really understand them. I never worried about that. In my mind, it's always do the right thing and good things will happen. And it's the same way when it comes to money. I never worried about the money would follow. As long as I worked hard, did the right thing by clients, the money would just always follow.
So don't worry about that. Don't worry about the money so much. Worry about just doing your process, trusting your process.
Exactly.
It's funny, and I feel like I'm talking too much when I'm piggybacking off of what you're saying and stuff. But as I mentioned,
no, not at all. That's why we're buddies.
That's it. But like what I mentioned to you the other day, I said we're in a really slow time. The industry's been challenging for me recently. But that's kind of why I brought the podcast back. That's kind of why I'm getting back to that grassroots stuff. I'm trusting the process that made me successful in the first place. And that's kind of what it's about, right?
Back to basics.
Back to basics. And that's like what we're all back to. We've all seen the last 2 years, which were nuts.
Bonkers.
Nuts, and like we all made a lot of money, and hopefully we all saved our money and did rightful things with it. But now it's back to basics. Now it's back to what made us great in the first place. Let's do it again, you know?
Yeah.
So pretty
all
cool.
All about networking, getting out there, seeing as many people as possible, meeting as many people as possible.
Right. Like after this, we got dinner with Tony Peck. By the way, that's Tony's second shout out on the podcast in a row. So Tony, you better be listening at home, by the way.
I look forward to meeting you, Tony.
There you go. I love that. If Tony's not listening, I'm going to be upset. All right. So kind of a similar question, but a little bit different. If you could go back in time, in a time machine, first, what would you change?
What would I change? Well, look, I live with no regrets.
Okay.
I took I took the rough road around. I did not, my life was never a straight line.
Okay.
I got a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, very rocky road. Would I go back and have made just some more mindful decisions back in my 20s when I was a complete maniac? Yeah, probably.
Okay.
But also, those roads led me to meeting and appreciating my wife. And so for those reasons, I really wouldn't change much, if anything, because it just, and look, I lost my parents also at a young age in my 20s, and that also helped form the man that I am today.
For sure.
So, unfortunately, I just go back in a time machine to see some live music.
Okay, so so you're skipping ahead. So that was going to be my next question. Where are you going specifically? In a time machine, so for the folks at home, my next question is, if you had a time machine, where are you going specifically?
I think I'm going to San Francisco in 1973.
Where at the it's escaping me right now, but for a brief period there, I was very into those YouTube videos and I'd watch a lot of those shows. I'm assuming you're talking about a dead show.
I am. I'm not speaking specifics.
Just
any
being
dead
at
show,
one of them.
Just about being there during that time, because the likelihood of me being at all of them would have been pretty high.
I wonder what the parking lot scene was like back in the day. All right, so cool. So Mayer or Garcia?
I'd love to easily just say Garcia.
Right.
We went to the first tour in 2015, I believe it was.
Okay.
At MSG for the Dead & Company.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend actually won a lottery. It was like some Amex lottery system. And he called me and was like, this was after he had just met Bobby in Philly.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he was calling me from there, being like, dude, I just met Bobby, and also I got tickets. You got to get Rach on board. You're coming with me to MSG.
Okay.
And I went, and I walked out of there saying, holy shit, Mayer revived the dead.
Yeah.
Because I've seen every iteration thus far,
Government
and they were like,
Haynes
they were okay. Obviously, anything Dead is going to be amazing, even if it's lackluster in comparison. But you can't knock on John Mayer and his skills.
He's nuts.
He takes it to a whole nother level.
He's nuts.
So yeah, I know it wasn't quite, a black or white answer there.
You still didn't give me your answer.
I mean, it's Garcia.
Yeah, it's got to be.
It's gotta be.
It's got to be.
You can't be better than the original.
Who wrote him?
Yeah, you can't be better than the original.
All right, well, that's good. So listen, before we get to the last question, we're doing pretty great on time here. Is there anything you want to say to anyone listening, or any advice, or anything you just want to say?
Just more on that authentic tip, just
Be
really,
real.
just be real, be yourself, be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Number one thing in life. Be nice, be kind. You never know who you're talking to. You never know where that's going to lead.
Which takes you to like where your story is, how you got here, like crazy.
Indeed. And I won't say no to loans. I've done $11 million loans. I've done $150,000 loans.
Yeah.
I never say no. I'll help everybody. You really, you can't look, and depending upon your time, you've got to balance that also, but be nice.
Yeah.
Number one thing.
So what's funny is I want to just tell people how we met. So we met at a networking event, and what was funny is normally when I meet a mortgage broker, I'm really excited. Maybe we'll do business together. With Tex, something clicked. I don't know what it was. I don't know if I was wearing a dead shirt or he was wearing something dead related, but we talked about the dead for like 3 hours, and that was it. The rest was history, and it was just like, but that takes you to the be authentic piece, and like it's like we were real. Like that's who we are, right? Like that's what we like to do. That's a hobby of ours. Like that was just us, and like we've done deals now together too, and like just little things like they call you Tex, for example, right? When it's like that's being real. You're not shielding yourself from your clients to be this person you're not. You're being the same person day in, day out. So absolutely
Goes
awesome
a long
answer.
way.
Yeah, it really does, and that breeds success. I believe at least.
Yeah.
And
to add to that,
go ahead.
To our meeting, I was told from mutual friends that we had to meet.
Oh yeah.
That we had to meet,
okay.
And I kind of said, look, I have a good relationship with my insurance guy. I'm good for now. But if we ever meet, I'm always open. And literally, like a month or so later, we met and we hit it off right away.
Yeah, it was like two.
I was like, oh, Austin, I'm supposed to meet you, buddy. What's up?
And then we ran into each other at the LA show, the first show of the Dead. And then we were both at the last show of the Dead too. I mean, pretty cool.
Yeah.
A little fun fact for those at home.
And we're going to see Trey Goose.
Yeah. I think I'm going to label this podcast Andrew Texeira, Austin Glazer talk about the Dead and a little bit about mortgages. All right, so we are doing awesome, like really, really awesome in time. So what I'm going to say, and I'm going to wrap up with one final question, and that final question is the same as every single episode of Closer Conversations. Andrew Texeira, where do you see yourself in 20 years?
20 years. Hopefully not working as hard as I am today.
Amen.
Although I like to work, so that's... Even if I had all the money in the world, I'd be doing something.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether it's selling coconuts and T-shirts on a beach.
Okay.
Would be my end goal, probably. But yeah, I don't know. My wife and I met snowboarding. We talk about possibly, moving out west at some point once the kids are older and out, and I'd like to have houses everywhere. So
that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd like to be chilling and snowboarding as much as possible.
Chilling like a villain. That's your answer. You're locking it in.
I'm locking it in.
I'm hitting the music. Ladies and gentlemen, today we were joined by Andrew Texeira, and it was a blast. Until next time, folks.